What do you think needs to happen to improve relationships between men and women?
Oh, I think this nonsense about the war of the sexes needs to stop if we're going to improve the world in general. If we want world peace, we have to drop this competitive nature, this who's suffering more, men or women, who's the bad guy, who do we blame? And that's one of the beautiful parts about the Sex 3.0. I read the book and I go, oh, men and women don't have to blame each other anymore. I've been saying that. Like, society itself is to blame. And I'm like, well, I don't like saying that. Well, society with the culture. But I think if we don't stop with the distraction of fighting with each other, men and women fighting with each other, we're never going to really get an honest look at and grip on what's going down in our culture. What kind of village do we want to live in? What kind of tribe do we want to have here? And if men and women are infighting constantly and can't get together, and this is like consuming them, and there's a whole industry about getting our parts together because people can't seem to do it real well. They're consumed with it. They're distracted by it. So distraction has to go, and this war between the sexes has got to be just blown up. It doesn't even exist. It's like this manufactured weird distraction thing. It's almost like, if I wanted to go a conspiracy theory on it, it's like they put it in the water to make us fight with each other or something. Because if we're infighting about whose fault it is, we're not working together. We're not bringing our polarities together and becoming solid, connected units and committed to each other when we're together and absolutely down for each other. Like, I'll bring this part, you bring this part, cool. And when we're together for the next 2 hours, the next 2 days, whatever it is, we're going to just really be present with each other so that this connected piece, this, we get all hippie flippy on it, this like love consciousness thing can happen. That won't happen if we're always divided and warring with each other. So everybody's limiting their power by not being able to get together and connect, and the culture just doesn't stand a chance to really change. We need a little wiggle room here. We need to stop all the distraction and the fighting and start putting our focus on what do we want, not all this what we don't want stuff. And that's what brings people to my door, what they don't want, what they're complaining about. And what they leave with is a game plan on how to take everything that they have and put it in a potent kind of package towards what they do want in life. And this Sex 3.0 gives people a direction to go with that. I'm just really thrilled about that part. I've probably said it a few times now, even in this interview. But we didn't know what was next. I could get people to hear, but this is what's next. So what was the question?
What do you think needs to happen for
People
relationships to improve between men and women?
Men and women have to have a motivation to understand each other. And then when they're together, they have to be committed to being present with each other and creating a motivation-rich environment so that the girl wants to give all of her girly stuff to him. And the guy wants to protect and provide for her and give all the masculine, stabilizing piece to her. Motivation. If we're fighting, there's no motivation to want to. Everything becomes an obligation. Everything becomes a drudgery and a chore. And everybody starts to feel stuck. And once again, love gets put in a little box and the lid puts chains on it and it gets dropped down in a well somewhere. It's like, well, I could access that love, but I'm going to have to get a rope and get down there, and then I'm going to have the key to get in, and I'll just keep going through motions. And the love just gets drained out of it. So that's not what anybody wants. Everybody wants to be loved, feel lovable, belong, connect deeply with their polarity opposite. It's just any human being, unless they're deciding to be a monk or a hermit, really has to get this resolved. We're not going to have world peace until we get that peace resolved. Households will not be able to raise happy, healthy children if we don't get this resolved.